to move, let's just find a comfortable seat. So however you are most comfortable, seated, and just feel your sits bones maybe even rock side to side. And feel those sits bones, and then once you kind of feel them, feel your ankles, your feet, maybe your calves, maybe your knees touch the ground, mine don't. Whatever is touching the ground, just tune into that part of your body for a moment. Maybe close the eyes or cast the gaze down. And just tune into the groundedness. Take a couple deep breaths. That could be in through your nose and out through your nose. Maybe it's in through your nose and out through a little hole in your lips, candle breath. So this transition back to having some people in studio has been making me think a lot about the transition to going all virtual and just what life has been like since that. And something that Sarah Teal actually said at the very beginning, it was one of the very first weeks that we were out of the studio. She was teaching her Monday, Wednesday class, and I was trying to attend as many as possible. She said that it's really good to take a moment to transition from whatever you're doing to the new thing. So thinking about that, you were doing something before this, and now you're about to do yoga for an hour. And so actually just letting your mind and your body and your spirit take a little time to transition from whatever was before this to this present moment and what the next hour will be. So thinking about that transition, and then if, like me, that leads you to think about the other big transitions that we've taken recently as a nation, as a society, as a world, you can also contemplate that a little bit, or you can let the transition just happen and come to the present moment. Maybe like 3 to 5 more big breaths. And then gently open your eyes. When you're ready, inhale, sweep your arms up, lift your chin, look up to the sky, and then exhale, sweep your arms down and let your chin drop all the way down to your chest. Inhale, sweep the arms, lift the chin. Exhale, hands come down, chin comes. Inhale, sweep the arms up. This time lean to the right. Let the head go wherever it wants. Let the left arm reach above the head towards the wall. Keep breathing deeply. When you're ready, take an inhale and come back to center. Maybe lift the chin for a moment, and then drop the chin parallel to the ground and exhale to the left. Keep that right sits bone, left sits bone, whatever sits bone you're leaning away from. Keep it grounded. Your brain isn't working. When you're ready, inhale back to center, and then either take it slow side to side or one breath to one movement. So inhale always brings you up, and exhale always brings you down. But you can pause in the pose for an extra breath if you want. So make it your own. You can think about reaching that side rib cage up towards the corner of the ceiling and the wall. You guys, this is the first time in like, however, 4 months that I had to think about how I smell when I came to teach yoga. Inhale, exhale, those are the things I worry about. And then when you're ready and you've done both sides equally, exhale and come forward. And just pause there for a moment. Noticing a tightness, noticing anything along the spine or in the hips. Maybe you feel it somewhere else. If you feel something in your knees, back off. You don't want it in the joint itself. And then gently walk the hands back up. Let's lean back onto our hands and bring the legs out in front and rock the knees. Feet can be wide, they can be narrow. Whatever is best for you. Breathing deeply. So for those of you that haven't been in studio yet, there's a big instructor's box that I'm not allowed to leave. And so I think that keeps you guys safe from my breath, since I'm the one talking a lot. And my smell. But I don't guarantee anything in the lobby. And then there are, let's cross our legs and put the other leg that you usually don't put in front or on top. There. So there are little boxes around the lotus flowers that you're allowed to be at. And so it's all super socially distant, which I like a lot. And that makes it, I feel, more safe to be here. So if that encourages you guys to come in, and we're going to be doing online, I think, like for a really long time. So if it benefits you to be at home, that's good too. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up, and then exhale, come forward. Again, pause there. Noticing, again, tightness or space. Notice your spine, notice your hips. And you can always compare this side to the other side without judgment. Just noticing, is this side tighter, or do I have more space? One more deep breath into the back ribs, opening the space between the shoulder blades. And then when you're ready, inhale, walk the hands up. Again, we're gonna lean back and we're gonna extend the feet in front of us, and you'll figure out like where exactly. And we're gonna cross one ankle onto the other knee. You can use your hand to help you. So we're gonna do a seated figure four to loosen up these hips. So once you're there, you can scoot this foot in towards you, or you can scoot your bum towards your foot. Whatever works for you. But you don't want the small of the back to start collapsing. And then once you're there and you feel that stretch that we just actually probably felt when we were forward folded, just pause and breathe. So I've been thinking a lot about a quote from this webinar that it's a series, so there are 12, and I've watched 9.5 of them. But the presenter said that what you practice on your mat, you should take off the mat with you. And if you don't, then your yoga practice is not actually practice at all, it's performance. And so I've been thinking about that a lot. I'm a person that prays. I think that applies to prayer life as well. That if you don't take something into your everyday life from the time that you contemplate or pray or meditate or do yoga practice, then then you're really just performing, and in a way, you're wasting your time, right? So for me, like, this is pretty uncomfortable. And so I think about, this is practice to maintain something that is uncomfortable. So whether it be a conversation with your spouse, whether it be for me at school, difficult conversations that I have to have with kids, whether it be, you know, something like if you hate weeding, but you have a lovely garden, like maybe weeding is uncomfortable, but you must do it to maintain what you like. Let's come out of it. You can scoot your bum back or your foot forward and cross. Let's rock the knees. You can widen the feet if you want. So when postures in yoga on the mat are a little bit difficult but not painful, we want to maintain them for whatever is suggested, if possible, unless you're really just like, this is not for me today. Because that's practicing sitting with the discomfort. Okay, so probably line the heels up with the sits bones, cross the other leg that you haven't done yet. Keep the foot flexed, and then either scoot the foot towards the bum or the bum towards the foot if you have space to do so. And of course, if you have hip injuries or knee injuries, you're going to be careful with this, right? You're only going to do what you can. This eventually leads into like cradling the baby, which is a different yoga pose. It's not my favorite. So sitting in the discomfort. Breathing, inhaling through the nose, out through the nose, maybe out through the mouth. My favorite thing about the fact that yoga is a place to practice is we get to mess up a lot here. And then we don't have to mess up so much in our daily life if we truly do the practice here. So that's what I like, especially when I get to be in a class instead of leading a class. I can truly practice and bring that calm, that whatever is cultivated during the practice with me into my life. Scoot the foot away from the hips, or the hips back, uncross the leg. Once again, let's windshield wiper the knees, side to side, however is comfortable for you. And then eventually maybe bring them all the way over and come up onto hands and knees. So however you want to do that. Transition, if you want something underneath your knees, this is a good time to put it there. And when you get to table, maybe instead of going straight into cat-cow, maybe start wagging the tail. So the hips move side to side. Everything else stays kind of still. Breathing, noticing your breath, noticing how your breath makes you feel. And then I think Tamara calls this Komodo dragon. You're gonna let your rib cage and then your head follow your hips. So as your hips go one way, your head kind of goes the other. So you're like doing a wave through your entire spine. And I felt really awkward the first time Tamara let us in this. I was like, what am I doing? But your body might get the hang of it after you do it a little bit. And if it's hard on the wrists, you can always go to fists. And then slow it down a little bit. Until you're back to table, and go ahead and sit the sits bones back towards the heels and come into child's pose. Take a few breaths, bringing that breath into the space between the shoulder blades, letting the ribs get really big, and trying to think about the back side of our heart. We often forget when we think about like love emanating from this space in our heart, we forget that we have a backside too. And so love can emanate all the way around, 360 degrees around us, in all directions actually, right? From the center of our heart, the cave within our heart. On your next inhale, lift your gaze a little bit, lift your shoulders probably, and walk your hands over to the right. And then go ahead and come back into a forward fold, letting your neck totally loosen so your head hangs heavy. Your chest or your belly might be on your right leg, that's okay. Just let it be. If you feel a little bit of compression in your right hip flexor, that's okay, as long as you don't feel pain. And you might feel like I can't take a full breath. So try to get the breath to go into the back side of the body. You might notice the breath lifts you up a little on the inhale, and then on the exhale, you can sink into the pose. And then when you're ready, take an inhale, lift the gaze, lift the shoulders, walk all the way over to the left side, and then exhale and fold. One more deep breath. And on your next inhale, again, lift the gaze and come back to center. A couple breaths in, child's pose. Just noticing if you feel a little bit of extra space this time in your child's pose. Maybe a little bit of openness around the shoulders or alongside the armpits. And then let's come up to table, readjusting the hands so that the wrists are underneath the shoulders. And then let's move into cat-cow. Inhaling, letting the belly come down towards the mat. And then exhaling, pulling the belly up towards the side, rounding the back. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. It's weird being in studio with no music. I think Mary, I don't know if any of you guys take Mary's classes, but she like loves her music. And so I think she's trying to figure out how to do music while still doing virtual classes. So I want to hear how it's going for her. Couple more rounds of cat-cow. And then your choice, you can go into child's pose again, or you can walk your hands a little bit forward and go into a down dog, or you could do a puppy. So it's up to you which you choose. They all get the same benefit, except down dog helps the hamstrings, which we'll get to in a little bit too. So no worries if you're choosing child's pose or puppy. Couple breaths, whatever your choice is, making it your own. If you do choose down dog, you can pedal the feet or just let them be still and let those hamstrings start opening up slowly and gently. And then if you're in down dog, go ahead and gently bring the knees back down. And let's swing the hips to one side and the legs around. And we're gonna come into staff pose. So if you have a blanket, now is probably a good time to put it under your sits bones, just to give you a little extra height. If you need to, you can bend your knees a little bit. But sitting up tall, so the small of your back is the place that I want you to focus on for a moment. Make sure that it's in its regular shape, not curved because your hamstrings or calves are so tight. And then using that length in the back, inhale and reach the arms up. And then exhale, bring the arms down first, don't let the body come, and then walk your hands forward, any amount. Down your legs. Maybe they get to your feet, maybe they don't, that's okay. And then once you feel some sensation in our hamstrings that are just starting to open up, let the head hang heavy. So I don't want you at your edge here. I want you at like 70%. The edge would be like 95%. So feeling some sensation, but it's not super intense. One more breath. And then walk the hands back up. Think about the low back one more time. Make sure that it is right like it would be if you were standing. Inhale, the arms up to the sky, and this time reach the arms forward and bring the body with the arms. So now we're going to maybe like 80%. So maybe it feels a little bit more intense, but you can still pretty easily just hang out here. So wherever that might be for you. And deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. And then walk the hands up the legs, rolling through the spine to come all the way up. One more time, thinking about the low back. Making any adjustments necessary to make sure that low back is right where it needs to be. And then inhale, sweep the arms up, maybe even lift the chin. Think about leading with the heart first, and then wherever your body stops you, let the chin go and the arms go. And so now maybe you are like, oh, I can reach something I couldn't reach before. Maybe you're right where you were at the beginning. Just notice. Hopefully with no judgment. Let go of any expectation of what the pose should look like for you. One more deep breath. Maybe thinking intentionally about bringing it into the back body. Expanding the back rib cage. And then on your next inhale, walk your hands up and pull the feet in towards midline into cobbler's pose. Hands maybe on ankles or on shins, just for the moment. Again, thinking about that low back. So cobbler's pose always really makes me feel my sits bones. So think for a moment, am I equal on both sits bones? Am I leaning one direction? Sometimes I find myself leaning towards my dominant side, so towards my right sit bone for me. So even it out. Try to feel both sits bones exactly with the same weight. And then feel the weight on the sides of your feet. Is the weight the same? And then we're going to take our right hand back and our left hand just below the hip. And we're going to press into that left inner thigh. And so your shoulder can come up a little bit. And we're going to create some space here in the joint. So you're pushing down and away. Take a few breaths. Make sure you stay away from the knee. Anywhere on the thigh is good. And as you breathe in, maybe you can feel an extra stretch. And on your next exhale, gently and slowly lessen the pressure, bend in your elbow, come back to center. Again, find evenness between your sits bones and between the sides of your feet. Take a breath in that evenness. And then the other hand comes back behind you. Right hand comes to the thigh. I like to try to get it as close to my inner thigh as possible and then push down and away. And the more I push away, the more I can straighten that arm. Your arm might not straighten all the way. My back arm is bent, which you can probably not see if you're on the computer. But whatever works for you and your body. Couple deep breaths. We're both strengthening our arm and stretching the space in our hip. And then gently bend that arm, pull away one more time. Find evenness in your sits bones and the weight on each sit bone, on the weight on each side of the foot. Find length in the spine. And then lean back on both hands, bring the feet out in front of you and rock side to side. Noticing if there's any extra space or any new sensations in the hips, in the thighs, in the inner thighs. Just exploring the body. And then we're going to gently and slowly roll down onto our backs. So hands can be underneath on the backs of the thighs, round the back like you're doing a cat maybe, and down to the back. So we already did a seated figure four. Now we're going to do a supine figure four. So you can choose the leg that you start with. Crossing one ankle onto the other thigh. Pause there for a moment. This might be your figure four today. Maybe you have space to lift the leg that is touching the ground, and then support that leg however you need to. You can rock your figure four. Just be gentle as you rock towards the crossed foot. It gets a little bit more intense. The bottom leg can extend up to the sky if you want, or it can stay bent. You can roll out the ankle of the leg that's not crossed. But just finding your space in this pose. So does this pose feel a little more open than it normally does after having done a seated version? Or does it feel about the same? Or like for me, I'm super sore in this area, so maybe it feels more tight than normal. Two more deep breaths. Maybe thinking about what do I do on my mat that helps me in my everyday life? Or what do I do on the mat that could help me in my everyday life. So simple things that I think about all the time are taking a breath, like a really good yoga breath, before I respond to a mean comment, or my children fighting with each other, or my husband saying something dumb, or the person, right? It happens, guys. You gotta take a breath. Or, you know, when the person driving in front of me is going 20, when the speed limit is 30, I've got to take that breath and calm myself and notice how I feel, and then think about in the car, like, do I really need to get where I'm going faster than this person in front of me is deciding that I'm going to get there? And usually the answer is no. So then I can just relax and I can take that moment back, right? Instead of driving in anger and feeling frustrated, I can be my better self. Okay, let that leg, if it's in the air, float back down to the mat. Uncross the leg. Here again, we're gonna rock the knees side to side. We're in a different position than when we sit. So just noticing any difference in the hips. Do you feel some tightness across the front of the hip bones? Do you feel tightness maybe going all the way up to your core? Or do the hips feel more free than they usually do because you've done so much hip rocking and hip work already? Coming back to center, aligning the spine, allowing it to take its natural S-curve, crossing the other leg over, coming into the second side, trying to mirror the first side as much as possible. Whatever you did on the first side, try to do that on the second side. And then come back to those thoughts. What is it for you that you practice on your mat that maybe you could take into your everyday life a little bit more? Like those days that we try to make extra space for gratitude, then how does that follow you into your everyday life? Or whatever the intentions are for your practices, how can that actually make a difference? Back, like before COVID, sometimes I would ask my husband in the evening, like, do you think I practiced yoga today, or do you think I didn't? And it's interesting to hear what he says, right? Because on days that I practice yoga, I would hope that I'm more patient, that I'm just like a better wife and a better mother and a better person. And on the days that I don't get to practice yoga, maybe I'm not that. And so maybe there's someone that you can ask. Maybe there's something that you can notice about the days that you do get to practice yoga. Or maybe the next 48 hours, right? Are you doing something better than you normally do because your yoga is actually walking off the mat with you? A couple more deep breaths on this side. If the bottom leg is in the air, let it float back down to the mat. Let the other leg float down. If you want to take knee rocks, go ahead and do that. But if you already want to just pull knees into chest, go ahead and go straight there. Eventually, we'll meet with knees into chest. So take a few breaths of knee rocks if you want that. And then knees into chest, maybe rocking side to side. And then bring knees to kind of a 45-degree angle. And bring left arm out to a T. And right hand guides the knees over to the right. So if you like some other supine twist, you can choose something else. So if you like to cross the legs like figure 4, or if you like to cross the legs like eagle, any of those choices, or if you like the top leg or the bottom leg extended, feel free to make it your own, as always. Deep breaths. Because I had gotten so used to like silence when I'm all alone teaching online, but now that there are people here with me, I'm like, oh, silence is a little awkward. Says the yoga teacher. You should be used to silence. Maybe 2 more breaths. And when you're ready, take a deep inhale. Use your core to bring your knees back to center. Pull them into the chest. A few knee rocks. And then when you're ready, don't have space to rock the left. Right arm out to a T. Left hand takes the knees gently over to the left. I should have said that you can turn your head towards the extended arm if you want. You can do whatever you want with your left arm. It can rest on the knees to help increase the twist. It can also go out to a T. It can rest on your belly to connect you more with the breath. Whatever feels comfortable. Deep breaths in through your nose and out through your nose if possible. Unless you're congested, then you can breathe through your mouth. Trying to take those breaths all the way down to your core. One more breath. And then on your next inhale, engage your core. Bring the knees back to center. Rock side to side if you want. And then start to circle the knees. You can do both knees at one time. So I like to circle them opposite so they go out and then in and out and then in. But you're drawing like big, actually ovals with your knees on the ceiling. So you can imagine that. And then whichever way you're going, go the other way. Just again, this is helping your hip joint increase flexibility, bring fluid into the joint, which allows it to just work better. And then when you're ready, place the feet down on the mat. You can bring arms to a T for a moment, and then just rock the knees to one side. couple of breaths. You might notice, like, is the bottom knee actually hitting the ground? How far down is the top knee? Just noticing. And then bring the knees back to center. And then rock the knees that other direction. Pausing for a couple of breaths. Also noticing the same things. And maybe this side is different. And then bring the knees back to center. So we're going to line up for bridge pose. So heels are in line with sits bones. So feet are just slightly away from each other. Knees are in line with ankles and hips. Hands are down by the hips, palms facing down, pressing gently into the hands to engage the triceps. Before we go fully into bridge, we're going to work our core a little bit. So take an inhale, press the small of the back. So you're just rocking the hips a little bit, pressing the small of the back into the mat. On the exhale, let the small of the back come away from the mat. Inhale, press the small of the back. Feel the front of the core engage. So the hip bones and the low ribs are coming closer together. And then exhale, and they expand a little bit. Inhale, press, bring the hip bones towards the low ribs. Feel the small of your back pressing on the mat. Exhale, release. Inhale. Come back into it. Feel your core working. Exhale out of it. 3 more with your breath. So you can hold the breath as well. So you can hold that engagement for as long as you can hold your breath if you want to do that. And then exhale. The next time you inhale, press the small of your back on the mat and then start to lift your hips. It doesn't have to be your highest bridge ever, just a little bridge. And then exhale when you're ready and roll back down. So choice here, you can flow, inhaling to come up to bridge, exhaling, coming down the spine, letting each vertebra touch one at a time until your hips come down. Or you can hold bridge and try to get a little bit more height. So your choice. Flowing bridge or a still bridge. Either one is great. And no matter which one you choose, I want you to really tune into the breath. How is your breath helping you? If you're flowing, your breath is helping gauge the movement. If you're still, maybe the breath is helping you get a little extra height. And then how else is your breath helping you? There are many things that I might not know. So investigate that for yourself. About 3 more breaths. So if you're flowing, maybe that's 3 more rounds. Or maybe if you were flowing, you want to hold. And maybe if you were holding, you want to flow. Or maybe you just want a break and you're going to stay down for the last 3 breaths. That's okay too. Once you're done with those 3 breaths, bring your knees back into chest. Rock side to side. And then plant the feet on the ground. You can put the feet a little bit further away than you might for bridge. We're going to work on the arms and the back a little bit here. So bring both arms to a T. And then bring your left arm across, reaching towards your right arm. So it's reaching, you can bring the left shoulder off the mat. So you're reaching, but your hips both stay on the mat. So we're creating space in the back body here. You can even have your left hand hold on to your bicep or your elbow or your forearm to provide a little extra stretch. And then that left arm is going to come back to its T, gently and slowly. And the right arm is going to reach towards the left. And again, the right shoulder can come off the mat, but the right hip is going to stay on. You're just going to create some tension, maybe by taking a hold of the left arm with the right hand. Couple breaths. Try to breathe into that back body. There's space there now. And then let the right arm come back to a T. Do that 2 more times on each side. You can choose how many breaths you spend in that stretch. Come away from it with an exhale. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Think about keeping the hips both on the mat. One shoulder comes off the mat. If you haven't gone to your second side for the first round, go ahead and do that. And then eventually coming to your second round, I'm finding that when I lift my lower arm to grab it and then pull it down towards the ground, that helps a little bit to get an even deeper stretch, if that helps you. And then untwist. So we're kind of doing twists. I hope you guys are online or understanding what I'm asking. It's hard for me to see some of you because of the lighting or because of the camera angle. A couple more breaths to finish out and even out the sides. And then when you're done, reach the arms up to the sky and then take opposite elbows and then rock the elbows side to side like we've done before. So same idea, trying to get some extra space across the back of the body. You can pause to one side if you feel a good stretch. If you want to add the knees, we've done a ton of knee rocking, so you don't need to, but if you want to add the knees, you can take the knees the opposite way of the elbows. Just get some movement along the spine here. And then once you feel done with this, go ahead and move into some yogi playtime. So maybe you want to do a happy baby, maybe you want to do some more hamstring stretches with the legs up towards the ceiling. Maybe you want to, I don't know, whatever you want. More core work. You could bring the feet up to the sky and hands below the sacrum and do some leg lowering. Whatever it is that your body is home for, make it your own. About 2 minutes. want to change and get off your back and do a pigeon, if pigeon is something you love, or another down dog. If you're doing something with sides and haven't switched sides, go ahead and do that. And then eventually start making your way towards Shavasana. So whatever props you want for that, if you have props at home. Those of you at home, I am gonna play some music for Shavasana here in studio. So if you want to mute me, you have that power on whatever device you are using. So feel free to mute me. I hope that the sound isn't terrible if you leave your sound on. And so just get comfortable wherever you want to take your Shavasana. Begin to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle toes or fingers, or reach over your head like you're waking up in the morning. Eventually bending knees and planting feet. Maybe then bringing knees into chest, rocking side to side, and eventually all the way over to one side. And then coming up to a seated position in the next 3 or 4 breaths. You guys, I'm so grateful for the 2 of you that are here in person and for the 6 of you that are at your homes or wherever you are, but still present with us so that we can all share our practice with each other today. Just like I missed last week, so I'm like extra grateful today for all of you. So bring hands to heart center. Take a breath there. Noticing, trying to tune into that light that is within each of us and all of us and in all beings across the world. We are connected by that light. The light within me sees and honors the light within each of you. Namaste.